we had Charlotte Flair
Ooh.
in that same seat talking about her taking criticism for being the head of the women's division, being the standard for women's wrestling. And with the good comes the bad.
All the bad. More bad.
More bad.
Yep.
We see more bad than we see good.
Yep.
And sometimes the bad tastes a little bit tart more than the good.
Brutal. It's brutal.
Yeah.
And it's mentally taxing.
It is taxing.
Yes.
Now, with that comes pressure, like we always say, pressure. I would, me personally, compare y'all to each other's brands. WWE is Charlotte Flair. I would say AEW, Britt Baker. You're on the face of a lot of things. You promoting the video game. You're doing all that. With all that comes a lot of hate. Boom. With all that comes a lot of hate. It comes a lot of ridicule. It comes a lot of little jabs and everything like that. How do you handle that? Because we asked Charlotte the same thing when we're here. I'm going to ask you the same thing.
Yep.
With being the standard and dealing with that and dealing with these people and being in this situation.
So I do consider myself the face of the women's division, and that's a job and that's a priority. So me doing what I do at TV every week, me being on TV, that's a presence. I one of the top stars in the division, but I'm doing all these outside things that are given to me and hitting home runs left and right. If you send me
the Comic-Cons and
that's what I'm saying. Comic-Con's not only gonna be in a Comic-Con, I'm gonna network and meet this person, that person, and be like, hey, have you heard of AEW? Because let me tell you all about this. And then next thing you know, we have John Kreese from Cobra Kai showing up with me at AEW Dynamite. I'm taking advantage of every single opportunity, but and I do get compared to Charlotte all the time on Twitter, which for me, I'm like, okay, cool. One of the best women's wrestlers of all time. You're so mean for calling me that, right?
Ooh.
No, right. But it's people don't understand the constant pressure that comes with all the hate that you get, and it's like we are people, and I think on Twitter they dehumanize us, like, oh, we're just wrestling characters, but we're not. We're people, and this is our job, and we want to be like everybody in the world. You want to be good at your job, and you're doing everything you can to not mess up, and sometimes you still might, but the next day you're working 10 times harder to make sure you don't make those same mistakes, because we're human. So being with the face of the division, you're under a microscope. No matter what you do, what you're saying, everybody has you under a microscope, and they are looking for
and they peel it apart.
Second to twist and turn your words, to watch a match, and all of a sudden they know it all. They're like, oh, I see what happened right there. Britt did this wrong because she did that wrong, and then she went to Tony and told Tony this, and this, and then that's why this happened. No, it's not. It's like this was written 3 weeks ago, and but it's you can't let that get in your brain, or you will drive yourself insane. Because I have, and it's talking to people like Chris Jericho, like Tony Schiavone, like Tony Khan, to just say, do not listen to Twitter. Get it out of your head. It's not real. Listen to your coworkers. Listen to your peers. Listen to the people you look up to in wrestling. Listen to the fans.
Like we asked Charlotte the same question. We was like, who do you talk to that's not in wrestling about wrestling or about dealing with this same stuff?
So it's hard because I talk to my friends who still watch wrestling, so they're not
technically in.
They understand what's going on, as far kind of, but they don't know the nuts and bolts and the inner workings, which
is good
for me. Is it's the best kind of advice I can go to, because they're fans and they like what they like, and they can recognize a good product and a bad product, and they're brutally honest because they're your friends, but they're not all up in the backstage drama and this and that and the politics. So it's cool. You get a very unbiased opinion.